So to give an example of some of the stuff that, sadly that I've been met with, I used to really believe this woman loved me and that, when I got married, that was going to be it. I married this person twice. Once through a judge and a third court of appeals, and, professed my love and devotion, and then again in church and in front of a priest, and had my family there and everything. And I wasn't ever after anything other than being in a relationship with her. I signed a prenuptial agreement. The woman had a lot of money when I married her. After a number of years of us both going in the wrong direction for a while, she took it upon herself to take my child and do her worst. If you know anything about child abuse or parental alienation or malicious mother syndrome, imagine that happening to a person of faith like myself, and my ex having all the means and being able to manipulate the way that she does. It turned a bad situation into worse, and over the years I've suffered, not only myself but the world. And after I spiraled down for a few years after our relationship, I found God and turned things back around, and he gave me an incredible blessing. We've been friends for over 10 years now, and we've been working together to do some really amazing things. If you've not heard yet, I assure you will. But in the process of doing all this stuff, I've been met by this woman who has manipulated this already corrupt and flawed system that is going on in the civil system. I know a lot of people struggle with this because it's a big money business and they don't feel they have the ability to take on something like this. I'm with God, and I've been with him since the beginning. I follow after Jesus Christ, and he sent me specifically through this for this reason. And we're shining light on what's going on, what's really going on in the system. There is a lot of corruption, and they say they're following in the law. They say they have the best interest of the child, but in actuality, they're doing for themselves to manipulate the system in order to extract as much money from the government as they can. And this goes from the county and the state and all the way up to the top. Now, the powers that be back in the 70s, when they passed this law, they decided they were going to create a system that would force men and women to take care of their responsibility. Granted, I understand there are some issues out there where people aren't willing or unable to do the right thing, and they need that thing to push them in the right direction. I understand that. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here is allowing for an injustice to happen, like to what's happened to me, while we've been doing the right thing. Every attempt that I have made to do what's right was met by this woman and this system doing their worst, putting me down, oppressing me, and ultimately convicting me unjustly of a debt that they created. Again, you have to look at what this system is really about and why we have the law in place. The law is not meant there to allow for people to go inside and do harm to other people. That's called maliciousness. There are laws against maliciousness, and yet what we see going on within the civil systems of America are a lot of uncivil people behaving unjustly and unrighteously towards one another, while the courts and the states and the counties and such, they make money off of this, and they are capitalizing or trying to capitalize off the pain and suffering of people. And then when you involve children, then it's a whole nother situation. Now, I get it. People, they want to help children and they want to make the world a better place. I'm with God. I've said that before, and I mentioned it time and again, and you can look at anything that I'm a part of. Go in and research me in any way and anywhere. We are doing some pretty fantastic things. But again, when I'm being met with a travesty of an unjust system like what Williamson County and the Attorney General's office of that small county are doing to a person of faith like myself, you'll understand why this system needs change. You'll look at what's going on over there and you'll ask yourself, how could this have happened? How could we have turned a blind eye to a faithful person like myself and allowed for an unrighteous and an ungodly woman to do their worst? Guys, she stole my child from birth. She took my child from before. I've never seen him. I've never met him. I saw him one time last year walking into a courtroom as he scowled mad, angry at me. I'm full of love for people. I'm full of love for all of God's children. I am full of love for all children. I am a great father and a great teacher, and I can help anyone, anywhere. And I've tried to do that very thing for a very long time, but the powers that be have turned a blind eye to this for a long time now. And I'm not sitting quietly anymore. I've been suffering through this system every 6 months. While I was going through the court battle every month in court for almost 2 years. I've gone through this thing since 2009. It's 2019 now, about to be 2020. So for 10 years, I've faced this kind of oppression needlessly because of an unforgiving, unloving, unmerciful, unrighteous person who has taken possession of a child, manipulated them, turned them against me, has malicious in every way possible, every intent, every foul thing, every false accusation, every ill will you can think of has been done towards me, a person of God, okay? Go and look at anything that I'm a part of. And no one has said anything about this. Guys, we're doing miracles over here. Why do you think a person like this is being allowed to do something like what they're doing to me? Is this the world that we want to live in? Is this the kind of world that we want to live in? Is this the kind of world we want to leave to our children? Aren't children supposed to have as many people as possible loving them? Isn't life about God? It's not about money, right? It's about doing the right thing. God wants to know how we treat people, how we love other people, how we bless people, how we can forgive them the way that He forgives us. He wants to see how well we'll do in this world. Not how bad we can make it or how terrible things are, and so you got to make things bad or worse. You know, I'm hoping that if you hear this message, you'll understand where I'm coming from. I'm not a bad guy, no matter what anyone wants to try to say against me. Guys, I'm best friends with God. Like, I know God. Like, God has revealed Himself to me. Like, we do things. We've been doing things for a long time now. I'm living in the way that Jesus showed us how to do that. And if that's wrong, then you're wrong. If you think something like this is wrong, then you're wrong. Like, the only thing that I can say of when it comes to something like this is that change has come to this world. God is seeing to that. And you got to ask yourself, what side of the line are you standing? Are you standing on the side that God is standing on and doing the right things to make the world a better place? Or are you on the other side of that, doing your worst and making the world terrible? Like, where do you stand with all that stuff? Because I assure you, every wrong thing is going to be held accountable for. Every wrongdoing, every wrong thought, every wrong word, every terrible thing that's ever happened. People who've done those things are going to have to give account for that one day when judgment comes. So I hope for your sakes that if you're hearing this stuff and it's impacted you in any way, that you realize where you are and you try to move in the right direction. Guys, life is a serious, serious blessing. It's an amazing gift. Don't throw it away just because you have an ill feeling or a bad thought, or you can't seem to get past something. Back in the day when I was doing all those wrong things, I know where I was, okay? I was lost, but I'm not there anymore. And I haven't been for 10 years. So if someone wants to try to let my past dictate my future, well, I say to hell with that, because that's not where I'm going, okay? I'm going to heaven, and I'm going to do everything great on the way home. And you have two choices. You can step aside or you can get on board, but you can't block this. This message is coming. God bless you.